Waynesboro High School football coach arrested on misdemeanor DWI charge. Chris Graham and Crystal Graham here for Augusta Free Press.
Chris, we got news, I believe late Saturday night, that the Waynesboro High School football coach Shonn Bell was arrested on a charge of driving while intoxicated. You were able to confirm that through a website called recentlybooked.com. You saw his mugshot there. Chris, I guess, this isn't a big surprise in somewhat regards. When he was hired, there were a lot of questions about his past, and a lot of people rallied and said, let's give him another chance. Maybe right now you can break down the charges that he's facing, and then we can talk a little bit about his background as well.
And it's not only now recentlybook.com. They had the news first, actually. Yeah, Saturday night. He was apparently arrested at 7:36 p.m. Saturday night. Not sure where in the city of Waynesboro, but now the Waynesboro Police Department puts out a daily what they call a police blotter. Of course, over the holiday weekend, they didn't put any out. So just this morning, got the Waynesboro police official blotter and confirming that among those on that were Shonn Bell, the football coach at Waynesboro High School, 50 years old. He's a Waynesboro native. He graduated high school from Stewart Straft High School out in the county just outside of the city limits. He was charged with driving while intoxicated with a blood alcohol level of greater than 0.20, which the state's legal limit for driving while intoxicated is 0.08. So this is two and a half times or more of the legal limit. A conviction on this charge would carry with it a mandatory minimum jail sentence of 10 days. That's now it's a class one misdemeanor. Theoretically, that means exposure of up to a year in jail. Of course, with a first offense, it's not likely that you would get a year in jail for that, but a mandatory minimum though of 10 days. So even if you are given a suspended sentence, you still would have to serve 10 days in jail. Shonn Bell is somebody that when he was hired last spring, it was sort of a splash hire. I mentioned that he's a local high school graduate, Stewart Straft High School out in the county. He played actually, it's now Division III UVA-wise. Back when he played in the 1990s, it was Clinch Valley College NAIA football, but he was an All-American at Clinch Valley College as a tight end. He played the NFL in 1996 and 1999, played with the Houston Oilers and the San Francisco 49ers. He also played in NFL Europe, the Arena Football League, the Indoor Football League. And he had some coaching stints at high schools with a semi-pro team out in the Midwest. And so, again, when he got the job, it was kind of it was a big deal. We got a guy who's a former college All-American football player, played in the NFL. It was something that the school system was trying to portray in a very positive light. But of course, yeah, you mentioned Crystal that we found that there was another side of the story as well.
Right. And so parents started reaching out to you in addition to normally you do a search of anybody that you're writing about, you kind of do a search and you found some background things that were certainly questionable. And I know you raised these issues in your job as journalist with both the Waynesboro School Administration, as well as members of the Waynesboro School Board, Chris. What did you find? And I guess how that all relates?
Well, and I would say that this is actually one where we probably didn't do our homework right away. The name Shonn Bell, Sean is short for his middle name, which is Raya Sean. His first name is Jamara, and so we didn't really get any right away, at least when the hiring was announced on April 18th of 2024. We didn't really have a name to kind of run through place, court checks and that kind of thing, and also he was living a lot of his years between say 1999, his last year in the NFL, and when he got hired here last year out in the Midwest, out in Iowa and Illinois. So, but what we found, and this was tips given to us by members of the community, there were two charges where he pleaded guilty in 2008 and 2010 in Iowa where he pleaded guilty to operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol. Obviously, that's what he's facing a charge of now. And also an interference resisting arrest charge out in Iowa, he pleaded guilty to. There was also something that came up from another source that we verified turned out to be true, that he faced a rape charge in Virginia while playing football at Clinch Valley College. That charge was later dropped. He served. He said he was sentenced to 120 days in jail on the DUI charge in 2008. All but 2 days of that were suspended. Different law out in Iowa. The misdemeanor charge of interference and resisting arrest ended up actually just being a $65 fine. So he pleaded guilty to that, but was able to plead down with no jail time. He also faced some other court actions, some other charges in Iowa 2016, two misdemeanor charges for possession of a controlled substance, first offense, possession of drug paraphernalia, and then both those cases were ultimately dismissed. There were also some domestic abuse charges that were later dismissed. Also, several records related to child support debt. The most recent of those filed in 2023, so just about a year before Shonn Bell was hired. We had reached out at this time last year to Waynesboro Public Schools after finding all these matters on the coach's record and asked if the school system had done its own due diligence, if it had uncovered any of these instances in its own background checks on Shonn Bell. We got the response from Ryan Barber, the assistant superintendent who heads up the human resources office. The quote was, as part of our employment process, searches of the FBI database, Virginia State Police database, and Central Registry for Sex Offenders, they're completed for all employees, Barber said. Currently, the school division does not know of any crimes that would constitute a legal barrier to employment. So that was the word last year. We have reached out to the school system for comment since the arrest on Saturday night. Have not gotten any response back from school system leaders.
I know in other situations, when I've reached out to Ryan Barber regarding employment status, there was a teacher who had had an incident of child abuse or sexual abuse charge against them. He would reply at least with either this person is no longer on our staff or this person is on leave pending the outcome, of that. So far, nothing from them
I
related to.
emailed I emailed both Ryan Barber and the superintendent Jeffrey Castle both Saturday night when we first heard the news and verified the news, and then again as we're recording this on Tuesday, the Tuesday morning. Not even a no comment, just no response from either of those gentlemen.
Now, on our Facebook page where we shared this story as the news broke, there have been more than 100 comments of some people saying, let's give him another chance. Others saying perhaps that the school system needs to move on. There were even some parents who were outraged, saying that he had opportunities to drive children and should face other charges potentially with that. I know that other people had reached out to us, Chris, as well throughout the season, allegations that Bell was at practices and was impaired at those practices as well. Now, we don't have any proof of that. That's certainly an allegation made by some people with the program. But what's your gut feeling and your experience tell you might happen here?
Well, I mean, also on the field, the team went 0-10 last year and lost by an average score of 49-13. Waynesboro High School, from the pure football perspective, it's a tough job. The school system there's not a lot of students in the Waynesboro High School, and it's been tough for years. The last several coaches have tried and failed to build a winner and sustain a winner. Dating back, probably Derek McDaniel is the most recent one, and that's maybe 7, 8, 9 years ago, where he was able to somewhat consistently win football games at Waynesboro High School. So there's that issue. And then yeah, on top of that, then I mean, this is a case where I don't like that we had to be right on this in the sense of okay, because you want to give people a chance. I mean, yeah, in the case of Shonn Barber, the some people argued last year, hey, those incidents in his record are from years back,
Sorry,
and
Shonn Bell. You said Shonn Barber. I
I'm
think you
sorry, yeah,
you meshed the two together.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so Shonn Bell, it's from years back, 2008, 2010, even to 2016. Uh, you know, but now we've got something fresh in 2025. And yeah, we did look into those allegations from parents during the season, parents and actually one of the assistant coaches on the team that was let go It's one of those things where the reason we didn't report on it at the time was not because we weren't trying to report on it. It was because actually the people who came forward then asked us not to report on it because we in a lot of cases of the people who were giving us this information, they had sons on the football team who were afraid that maybe the school system would shut the team down for the year. It had gotten that bad. So yeah, this is not an easy situation. Let's just put it that way. And I would not want to be in the shoes of Jeffrey Castle, the superintendent, Ryan Barber, the director of human resources, the school board. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes right now because I think that probably the best decision would be to cut ties. But that's and doing so acknowledges that a year ago they got a major decision wrong, and they were told publicly that this could end up being the case, and that unfortunately, and I'm not happy to say that what we warned people about a year ago does end up being the case.
So I assume that when we hear something from the school system, or if we hear something from the school system, that will likely be your next update on this story.
That's right. That's we're waiting. I mean, I'm literally checking my email every few minutes, it seems like, to see if there's any response from the school system. Just because that is the sort of the next or last part to the story. And so yeah, we'll definitely be checking in on that from the perspective of what the next update will be. And so until then, yeah, I mean, honestly, Crystal, we both know we've heard from people personally, and then we've seen the comments on Facebook. I think that's what the readers, especially those local readers for Augusta Free Press, hyper local Waynesboro readers, want to know. And yeah, we're waiting with you.
All right, so we'll wrap this topic up for now, but you can continue to follow the coverage on AugustaFreePress.com.